Okay. Sorry, it's slightly late. I was just trying to finish up dinner, which I didn't finish, so apologies for that. Liz might show up during the stream. She's on her way over. We won't be cutting it short. Don't worry about that, but just letting you know. Yes, today is Tuesday. I saw that. I think I first initially caught that on TikTok. The 22nd of February, which is the second month, 2022. Won't be quite that synchronous again for another 200 years when it can be the the second day of the second month in 2222, but we won't be around to see that. How was Gallifrey 1? Gallifrey 1 was great. I did shot some video there. I will be cutting something together for the break room. I may not have it out until next week. I have to kind of hit the ground running tomorrow morning. I've got a lot of work to catch up on and try and get ahead. So yeah, it's I can't promise when that'll be ready. That's the thing about stepping away. You come back and stuff's piled up. Knackered from traveling? No, I'm not too bad. I didn't ever properly sync to West Coast time, if I'm being honest. And as a result of that, I wasn't up for some of the later night stuff over there. But I'm okay for now. Yes, I did hear about Ivan Reitman. That was a shame. Michael Anderson Doyle, member for 4 months. Thank you so much for that. All hail Queen Nathaniel Wayne. All hail the council. You can relax because Dharma, the coin-operated femboy android, is here for your amusement. I do appreciate the praise. Maybe tone down the hailing. At a certain point, it starts to become almost cult-like. And it makes me nervous. Getting drunk? No, I'm not getting drunk. My partner's on her way over. I have no intention of being drunk when she arrives. Who's Ivan Reitman? Ivan Reitman was the director of a lot of things over the years. Most his best-known stuff was in the 80s and Ghostbusters, my favorite movie of all time. He directed that. So that's who Ivan Reitman is. The Meeping Angel. Yeah, God, yes. Okay, so, all right. If people don't follow me on Twitter, I should have set something up so I could, share this. Hang on a second. No, dang it. I can't do this mid thing. I can try. Hang on. I'm going to try something real quick. See if I can. All right. See if I can show you this thing. Where would it be? Just in case anybody didn't follow my Twitter. So I saw here it is. Oh, dang it. I got to resize this. Hold on. We can get this. We can get this sorted. We shall get this fixed and sorted. All right. Here we go. I saw this at Gallifrey 1. I snapped this picture. No, it's over there. I snapped this picture and to proclaim the astonishing sight that is the Meeping Angel. And this has become the most liked, shared, retweeted thing I have ever put out. And it's not really mine. Actually, the person who cosplayed this contacted me over Instagram, and said that they felt so famous yet so anonymous at the same time, and that it was kind of cool and surreal. And I feel like that sums it up really well. And yes, Kara, Katie Angel on TikTok did do a video with the Meeping Angel. Like, the Meeping Angel was just amazing. It was just fantastic. Get that gone. So yeah, that was kind of what kicked things off. But yeah, now my most viewed tweet ever is a picture of somebody else's cosplay that I'm not even in. I mean, I'm happy it did so well, especially for the cosplayer, because like it was amazing. But yeah, it's a little weird. What is the future of your podcasting beyond What the Frau? Well, we can now announce this. And actually, if you watched Jesse's latest video that came out 4 days ago, I think, came out this past Friday. The video she did on cancel culture, at the end of that, she did drop, and we can now talk about what we're doing next, which is we're basically gonna keep going, me and her. We're picking a new show, but we are flipping the format insofar as we are doing one where she has seen it before. So for her, it's a rewatch. For me, it's a first time. And we are doing Babylon 5. It's going to be called the Jumpgate podcast. Same feed, so you don't have to find it anywhere. If you're already listening to What the Frau, it's what will be on the same feed next. When I saw your TikTok meeting, Katie Angel, I didn't know whether to scream or squeal. I did both. She is a delight, and she really is as high energy as you would assume she is based off her TikTok. Yeah, she is walking sunshine and rainbows. It's amazing. It looks slightly like a character from the Muppets. Yeah, that's the idea, Samantha. It's supposed to be Beaker. That's why it's the Meeping Angel, because Beaker was me. What am I eating? I'm eating chicken tom kha. Ordered Thai. Any thoughts on the final episode of Arthur? Watched it and I feel old. I never watched Arthur. I was too old for it when it started airing. So I didn't even realize that they had done a final episode. Not gonna lie, Vera, Yoda was pretty sad to be passed on. He hit the gym and everything. Oh God, I gotta give context to that now. So during my last leg of my trip back, well, second to last leg, I suppose, technically, when I was on a bus from Boston, Logan Airport, where I flew in, on my way up to where I'd left my car, because it was actually cheaper to leave my car at a long distance bus station, like a coach station, and take the bus down to Boston to fly out of Logan Airport than it was to leave my car at the Logan Airport parking lot for as long as I was going to have to do that. But anyway, so on the bus, I had tweeted out on Twitter, just throw me some characters, smash or pass, so I can pass the time. And one of them was Yoda, and I did pass on Yoda. The thing is, like, there's something that just, he looks like he would feel leathery, and I feel like he'd try to make jokes during whatever went on. And, like, don't get me wrong, laughing during sexual activity is not only okay, it's welcome. It means everyone's relaxed or having fun. But there's a difference between laughing because, oh, this is great, and laughing because you made a bad joke and went, I don't need that. How many cats would fit inside your jumper? Well, it's a crop top, so not many. Watch the final episode of the first season of Peace. Oh, you mean Peacemaker? I'm assuming you mean there, Michael. I still haven't watched the finale. Like, it was my intention to watch it like during downtime at the hotel during the con, but I really didn't have any downtime. Not meaningfully. Plus the Wi-Fi sucked. Hilton at LAX is kind of a crap hotel. Hilton at Logan quite nice. Same chain, vastly different. Oh, Mountain Harpy, thank you for the hearts. Here's one for you. I appreciate that greatly. Oh, I didn't point out. Hearts are a response to super chats, which is the one of two ways to guarantee that I will read your comment. The other one being if you are supporting me on Patreon, you get access to the Council of Geeks Discord, which has a channel for questions to be asked on the stream. So if you aren't there, then the super chats guarantees that I will read your comment or question. I do try and keep up with the chat, but I make no guarantees otherwise, and it gets you a heart from me. Wait, jokes during sex is a bad thing? I didn't say it's a bad thing. It depends on who you're with. Some people will probably go for sex. Sex during jokes. Jokes during sex. Sex during jokes makes it seem like an orgy is just going to break out during a stand-up set. I'm not sure I've ever heard any comedy that good. Have I seen the Cuphead show on Netflix? Nope. Nope, don't really plan to. I didn't play the game. I've seen clips of it. Like, I appreciate that it exists in terms of reviving that sort of high-energy Fleischer-style animation. It's not my favorite era of animation, so doing a pastiche on it, not really going to be my hook, you know. But I appreciate that it's around, that it exists. High Voltage, thank you so very much for the super chat. Love that you're looking at Steven Universe, one of the few shows I can rewatch over and over again. Yes, I need to shoot my review for season 3 before I start forgetting what was in that season specifically. Because I finished watching that with my kiddo a little bit before I left for the con, but unfortunately I didn't have time to shoot a review. So, yep. Again, things pile up real quick. There are some stand-up sets that would be improved by an orgy. I feel like that's what you do when the comedian is bombing so bad. You're like, well, we need to make something interesting happen. I saw on Twitter that you didn't like No Time to Die. What is its biggest problem? Well, okay. I'm not going to go too long on this because I also have to shoot a video on that. You are getting a tiny glimpse at how much stuff I have to do tomorrow or start working on tomorrow. But the short version is it's Spectre all over again, but longer. Like pretty much every problem I have with Spectre is ported in completely intact and unchanged and just stretched out for longer. That's the biggest problem. I could break it down into a lot more specifics for you, but that's really the overall problem, is that it is carrying the sins of Spectre. And yeah, which is why I worded the tweet the way I did. If you liked Spectre, I totally get that you would like No Time to Die. What I was confused by is the fact that No Time to Die is better reviewed than Spectre was, which I don't get. Makes no sense to me. I don't understand how No Time to Die could appeal to anyone who recognized the problems or like felt that the problem, I say recognize the problems. That's a bad way to say it because it implies that people who liked it didn't see the problems. That's not how entertainment works. But like for anyone for whom the problems of Spectre were overwhelming and so detrimental they couldn't like the movie, I don't see how those same people could say they did like No Time to Die. Because it's the same problems in the same quantity, in the same way, to the same degree, taking up exactly as much space in the movie. I don't understand. Have you ever seen a trauma film? I'm not sure I have. I don't think I have, actually. I know what trauma is. I'm well aware of them. But no, I actually, now that I think of it, I have not ever seen a trauma film. Have I seen Wallace and Gromit? If I have, which of the films are my favorite? I have seen Wallace and Gromit. Favorite is probably still The Wrong Trousers, which was the first one I saw, so there's a certain amount of nostalgia there. Do I like smoothies? I have to be in the mood, but on occasion. My granddaughter got me into Steven Universe and Gravity Falls. I showed her Ruby and Doctor Who. Well, Steven Universe and Gravity Falls are, things I actually watch with my kid. So, Spectre sucked way more than No Time to Die. It really didn't. It really didn't. Because No Time to Die is built on Spectre. And the bits that are better than Spectre, arguably, are just tacked onto the side of it. They didn't replace the bad stuff in Spectre. They just added more stuff, which made it almost a 3-hour friggin' slog. And I saw people actually on Twitter say it was well-paced. I was like, excuse me? What? Have I played Zelda? You gotta be more specific than that, Epsilon. That is a massive franchise. I've played some of it. Ever played D&D? I am on a D&D podcast. Not podcast, Twitch stream. I can talk. I know words. I know what I do. Quiet. I do too. Yeah, no, I'm on Quill and Sword on Partridge Quill on Twitch every other Thursday. Well, it's supposed to be. We've missed the last couple because we really want to have everybody there for what's been going down lately. And, well, I was actually the holdup last time. I was supposed to already be landed, excuse me, by the time the stream was supposed to start. So it was my plan to do my part from the hotel. That ended up not happening because my flight out to LA was a nightmare. Everything else went fine, so it really did seem like I just piled up all the stuff that could have gone wrong into the process of getting out there. My granddaughter's 15. Oh, yeah. I can't always tell. I'm bad at guessing ages. Steven Universe, wait till you get to the Gems homeworld. No spoils. Vera talk good. No, bad talk too. Oh, whatever. Oh, yeah, Zach, I'd be careful about that. That's kind of a big spoiler. Like, I caught that by accident. I caught that because the ladies on Kill James Bond dropped that spoiler, which, as much as I like that podcast, I'm annoyed with them at. I didn't know that. Or at least I shouldn't have known that going in, but I did. So, on a night out, drank a lot of water, popping in to say hi. Hi there, Lewis. Why am I buzzing? Hang on. All right, sorry about that. John Vinyls, thank you so much for the super chat. Ever heard of N.D. Stevenson? I don't think so. I don't know. What are my thoughts on Watership Down? I know I've seen it, but I do not remember it that well. I don't really have particularly strong thoughts on it. Oh, hey, Meg. Good to see you. Okay. You can choose only one. Secret of Nim or the Last Unicorn. Last Unicorn. Oh, Noelle Stevens. Oh, okay. I wondered if that's who you were referring to, John. I didn't know if they had started if they'd maybe like changed their preferred name. I wondered if that might have been what you were who you were talking about, but I didn't know because I don't keep on top of that stuff as much as you would think that I would. I'm confused by James Bond, though. Doesn't he get shot and killed at the beginning of Spyfall and is then fine? I don't know. I've only watched a few. He does get shot at the beginning of Skyfall. Spyfall was the Doctor Who two-parter. That does not kill him. He is fine, sort of. Not really. Like, Craig's bond has never been fine. He's kind of been walking compressed trauma. That's kind of been his angle. Any thoughts on the new Lord of the Rings Netflix series? Well, it's Amazon, not Netflix. Not to be a pedantic jackass, but I honestly don't really have thoughts. Which was why I didn't do a reaction to the teaser that came out, because I'm just I just don't have any. I had no strong reaction to it. I didn't have a strong negative. I didn't have a strong positive, but I knew that if I put those thoughts out there on the channel, which I'm now doing, idiot, I knew I was liable to just end up with one more fandom that hates me and thinks I'm crapping on something when honestly my opinion is just non-existent because I'm not moved by it, by the marketing. So, but I didn't want to have yet another fandom mad at me, on top of Batman fans hating me, and they will continue to after Saturday's video, I'm sure. Dr. Bunsen Honeydew would be powerless against the Meeping Angel, seeing as he has no eyes. Oh, good call. And yes, Meg, yes, you nailed it there. How was the convention? Convention was great. It was exhausting, as they tend to be, but it was really good. It was really good. Joe Martin was there. Mandip Gill was there. Sacha Dhawan was there. Sylvester McCoy was there. Fraser Hines was there. I'd met him before. He was at the previous time I'd gone. It was good. All the people who I saw who spoke or who I had pictures taken with were great. I had a real good time. And I met some people who I've known for a while, sort of. So the podcast that I do with Liz, the Tough Like a Girl podcast, that is hosted on the Fire and Water podcast network. And through that, and through people linked to that, there were a bunch of people who I've been in contact with for a while, but had never actually met. People like Shag Matthews, Professor and M. Middleton, who have the Dorkness to Light podcast, which I've plugged before because they're great. And I got to meet them and a few other people who I know through sort of the podcastosphere side of things. And that was surreal and cool. So yeah, there was that, and there was meeting people from TikTok, like Katie, and then, all the people from the show who were there. And there's some very surreal moments with some of these people. I forget, I know, but I also forget how many people at a Doctor Who con specifically are going to recognize me. Because I go to a standard, a comic convention, I'll get recognized maybe 4 or 5 times. I lost count after day 1 at Gallifrey 1. A lot of people really liked the cosplay I had going the second day because I was rocking the corset and I looked dang good. Kara, thank you very much for the super chat. Much appreciated. Any tips for teaching or interacting with 7-year-olds? My teaching practice is in 3 weeks for 4 weeks. I really don't, because my kid as is now 10, and she's weird and has always been weird. So I'm not sure she's a good metric. I'm not sure I have tips for general interactions with kids of that age. I'm not comfortable around kids of that age, other than my own kid. The rest of them, I don't know. I'm just not particularly comfortable around kids. So I'm not a great person to ask. Random question. Can you ski? I can, I think, still. I haven't skied in over 20 years. No. 25. Have not skied in a very long time, but I could. So, in theory, I think I still can. I don't know, though. John Vinyls, once again, thank you. I've been reading pretty heavily lately about ND/Noel Stevenson's childhood and a fundamentalist religious family. I remember them talking about that a couple years back. I saw an interview with them talking about that. So if they've been opening up more about that lately, I imagine that probably connects with a lot of people. It's funny. It's one of the things on something like TikTok that because I wasn't raised religiously myself at all, one of the things I never really had as part of my journey in coming to terms with myself or coming out to my family, one thing I never really had was religious trauma. And, on something like TikTok, seeing how common that is for all stripes of queer people has kind of been eye-opening, because again, it's just not something that's part of my experience. Never has been. But I got to meet Shag. Must have been an experience. It was. Shag's a character. That corset was amazing. You look sexy in that corset. Thank you. I'll tell you, my body was not happy being in that corset for as long as I was in it. Damn, did I look good. Convention swag. I did not come away with as much as you would think. Mostly, like, the big things that I came away with were the pictures I took with some of the attendees. Almost all of which I got signed. I had one. I didn't get the picture I got taken with Sacha Dhawan signed, because on the schedule he was supposed to be there for one more day doing autographs. He left early, and I didn't realize that was going to happen, so I missed that. So I have to just keep an eye out for him at other cons that I might go to, or anything like that. But that's kind of the main kind of swag I came away with. Other than that, it's the Gallifrey stuff. It's all the ribbons that people hand out. I also met Gigi Edgley, who played Shiana on Farscape. Had her sign one of my Farscape DVDs. The DVD case, not the DVD itself. Met her. And yeah, so most of my swag is pictures and signatures. I was on a very tight spending limit this time around. I spent a fair bit of money last time I was there. I did not have that much money to throw around. So I didn't treat myself to a ton of stuff, because the treat was the pictures and the autographs. Alpine or cross country? Never cross country. Oh God, hate cross country skiing. Yeah. Good night, Cara. Have a good night. Sleep well. I'm going to be looking for more books to read soon. What is my book about? My book, I'll try and not have this turn into a complete self-shilling. So my book is a high fantasy, meaning it is set in a completely original world. It is an electropunk world. So, and think kind of a little bit steampunky, but instead of steam, things are running off electricity, batteries, charged by solar power, things like that. And it is a world in which there is a very clear division between the technologically driven world of humans and the magical world of the Fae, who live in the forest. And sort of caught in between those worlds are what are called the elementals. And the elementals are people who are human, but at a certain point in their life exhibit and start to emit core elemental energy. In the case of this book, Dreams of Fire, the main character is Ferris. He is a fire elemental, and he is on the run and being pursued by certain elements from the Science Guild, which, amongst other things that it does, has a tendency to capture and study elementals. So that's the core pitch of it. It's something I spent a really long time working on. I'm still quite happy with it. It is available through Amazon, but if you don't want to support Amazon, it can be acquired through any local library or bookstore because they can get it through Ingram. Yeah, you tell any bookstore owner or librarian that they can get it through Ingram, they will know what you mean by that. Sorry, all I heard was how tight things were. Egg. I was wondering what the tech level was. I don't really know how to define tech levels. Like there are motors. There's motorized transportation, but like most of it's on water, and motorized transportation, like vehicles, anything like a car, is rare and expensive. It's a luxury item for the most part. A lot of travel is still done on foot or with beasts of burden. So that's kind of the tech level, kind of Edwardian, kind of, I guess, in a way. I don't know. I can't break it down very well. Did they talk about Doctor Who Legend of the Sea Devils? Nope. Just that it was coming out and everyone was excited. I felt here's the thing. So Mandip Gill especially was very clearly being very tight-lipped and very skittish about what she could or couldn't say. You could tell she was very nervous about accidentally spilling something. And actually, she did say something which is going to be the inspiration for a video that will be out next month. It's not like spoilers about anything coming up. So don't think that. Don't ask that. There was just something she said about the process of how certain things happened in the development of Yaz as a character that got my brain ticking over, and it is gonna become the basis of a video. I have Dreams of Fire on my nightstand still. I really like it. Aww. Yeah, Ms. Wicked Wolf, I don't need you to remind me how old I am. Thank you. Met up properly with my friend Saba for the first time in 2 years today. We saw Death on the Nile. How was that? I still haven't seen Murder on the Orient Express, actually. When was the last time you went to an impersonal con? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Do you mean like a digital one? I haven't really, like, the closest I've come to anything like that, when WebCon happened a couple times in 2020, I was involved in some panels on that, but I haven't really done much with that kind of thing. John Vinyls, once again, thank you very much. I bring up Endy's childhood because of the connection it has with the plot and the characters of She-Ra, a show people like, say, Gretchen Felker Martin define as mega corporate pablum. I don't know who that is. And that sounds like a very dismissive term for any piece of art, whether it be corporate or not. But anyways, tech level turn of the century? Yeah, kind of. Cleaner than that. In terms of like real world. And that's by design. It kind of has to be. Excuse me. It doesn't come up in the course of the novel, but the reason the technology is electric based and not steam powered is because it has to be. It has to be pretty green energy, because if human technology needed to run off of fossil fuels or burning things, the kinds of harvesting of natural resources that humans would have to do, venturing out into fey-controlled wildernesses to do it, would go very badly, very quickly. So there's a reason things run off electricity and solar, because they have to. Well, most of the tech we see anyway. There's actually the whole other side of the continent, where the Alchemist League is based, and they have contributed to combustion engines that run on alchemic mixtures, but none of that comes up in the book. It will come up in a follow-up not really a follow-up. Another book in the same setting when I eventually get around to that. My thoughts on Prince of Egypt, 1998. Still haven't seen it. Sorry, I should have said in person. Oh, in person. Yeah, no, Gallifrey 1 was the first time I'd gone to an in-person con since Gallifrey 1 back in 2020. So it had been 2 years. Aside from a couple of moments with Armie Hammer's character that are a bit icky now, Death on the Nile is pretty good. Yeah, I feel bad for them because like there was nothing they could do about that. You could see how much they were minimizing his presence in the trailers. But yeah, like the stuff about Armie Hammer wasn't public at the time it was shot, and especially in the age of COVID, trying to bring everybody back for reshoots was just not practical and would have been very expensive. those Fae are nothing to F with. Would you say it's solar punk? I like going with electro punk. Because the fact that it's pretty much everything's run on batteries. The batteries are solar charged, but the solar aspect doesn't really come up that much. But yeah, Gozer, I took a lot of pleasure in writing Fae that weren't cute. Fae and fairy creatures that weren't cute and adorable. I enjoyed doing that a lot. Booked into the Who Interactive Theatre event in London. Thoughts dive in re-participation or stay back? Latter is my instinct. Whatever you're comfortable with. Like don't push your comfort level too far. Jody and Mandip are doing London Comic Con this weekend. Are you going to that too? I just said how tight my budgeting was for the one I just got back to from LA. No, I'm not going to London. I have my taxes due soon. I'm screwed. Armie Hammer needs to be slapped continuously. Well, his career seems to have taken a big old slap. I think he's got to have a hard time finding work because it's not like with Gina Carano or something where like just a certain societal segment has been like, no, we don't like you, and he can just flee to the people who are fine with everything. Like it is a bit more of a dude, no. Has anyone commissioned you to review Midnight Mass? Nope, they have not. Looking forward to more intersectional content across nerddom and YouTube. Yeah, absolutely, Emily. I want to try and do more stuff, a bit like I did with the disability video. I want to try and cover more stuff like that. But I need to be very careful about how I do it. Because, diving in, assuming you know how you're going to handle it and deal with it is how you make things worse. Captain Omni, thank you so very much for the super chat. NASA punk is an underrated punk style. Ooh, I hadn't even heard of that one. There's such a variety of like the little punk narrative subgenres. Steampunk obviously being the most prevalent, but there's electropunk. There's what Yahtzee Croshaw coined as Pentium punk, sort of the 90s CRT monitor. ASCII font kind of style and era. Scary Fae are more accurate to traditional myth anyway. Cutesy Fae are Victorian BS. Side rant. Brian Froud's Fairy Oracles are the most beautiful card deck ever made. Ooh, interesting. Do I like DreamWorks? Sometimes. When DreamWorks is good, it's really good. It's not always good, but when it's good, boy, is it really, really good. Do you watch reaction videos? Not very often. There's a couple of reactors who I've taken in some of their stuff. I don't think anybody who I'm subscribed to as a regular viewer is a reactor. I guess part of the thing with the reaction videos is it can really irritate my ADHD brain because you get one of two things. You either get them talking over the thing that they're watching and it splits my attention in a way that is aggravating. Or you have them pausing the thing to talk about it, which is probably a better structural thing to do. But that can throw me off because, especially if it's a thing I know, part of my brain is going, unpause the thing, unpause the thing, unpause the thing. So, like, reaction videos just don't cooperate with my ADHD, if I'm being completely honest about it. Oh, Captain Omni, thank you so much. Again, a good idea of NASA Punk would be looking at the Lightyear trailer. Oh, okay, I think I see what you get. The OG was Cyberpunk. Oh, yeah, good point, John. Yeah, I can't believe I skipped over that. Speaking of stuff from 2 years ago, I'm thinking about commissioning another culture novel. I saw that. If I'm lucky, it'll be one I can get hold of a audiobook for this time. I mean, that's part of why Accession took me so long. I couldn't get an audiobook to help me move it along a little bit faster. And like, having now read it, that was probably for the best. I can't imagine how they would have formatted some of that stuff for audio, but like it having to actually literally stop myself from doing anything else to sit down and read it was hard. Not unpleasant, like in my review. I did like the book for the most part, but oh boy. My brain rebelled. If the creators of epic rap battles want you to be in one of their videos, would you do it? I don't know. I haven't checked on them lately. I'm going to say tentatively yes. It doesn't matter because they won't. But yeah, sure. Why not? I'm surprised that Gal Gadot got so much stick for the enough champagne to fill the Nile line in the trailer. It's hardly Kal-El no levels of bad. I mean, a lot of it has to do with context too. But like, Gal Gadot is honestly, the power in her performance is largely in the sense of her presence, as opposed to like spot on line readings. And that's not me saying like she can't do line readings well, but I'm saying like as a performer, you know, you're there for the vibe and the energy she brings to things, not specifically the way she's going to deliver a line, if that makes sense. Nice purple streaks. Thank you. I refreshed it right before going to Galley with very cheap dye, so it's coming out again already. They give the minds different UK regional accents in the audiobook, so you know which one is talking when. Oh, okay, that would help. Yeah, they need to do that at the very least. That makes sense. I will say, like, I liked the minds a lot in those books, and like the names were very clever, but boy, could I not keep them straight, most of them. Again, ADHD brain, and it's not really a problem with the book. It's just a minor incompatibility with the software. Yeah, ableism and identity framework models still need coverage. Intersectionality is a thing. Disability Day of Mourning is in March. Thank you for all of that, Emily. Yes. Ever heard of the Sardonicast podcast? I feel like I've heard that name. I've never listened to it. No one said fairies were nice. Dang right. Actually, that's not true. Victorian children said fairies are nice, but they're children and don't know what they're talking about. Captain Omni, once more, much appreciated. My favorite kind of punk would have to be ocean punk, essentially Waterworld or any series focusing heavily on ocean-based technology. Oh, cool. Oh, yeah. Discord, just a second, Carolyn. I will get to that momentarily. Yeah, so Carowin did thank Meg, and I'm also going to thank Meg. Meg, in the chat right now, did consult and help me with the disability video. She gave a look over the script and actually pointed out some things that I needed to adjust and gave me some ideas of things to include that I didn't already. She was an incredibly big help, and she just commented, probably good that I'm just consulting, not actually doing my own videos, because I'm guessing it would have ended up a very unhinged kind of rant. Yeah, but I think it'd still be worth watching, Meg. I'm just saying. And Meg has actually helped me out before. She gave me a hand a year, 2 years ago, when I talked about Sia's music in the lead up to that. Anyways, I gotta check the Discord. Be right back. So for the Babylon 5 rewatch, do you know if you're starting with the pilot or season 1, episode 1? If the pilot thing is like the pilot movie, I believe we are starting with that. It's going to be because I know there's some debate over best viewing order for Babylon 5. I'm leaving it in Jessie's hands because she's the one who's seen the thing. So I'm leaving it up to her to decide what order we're watching anything in. But I'm pretty sure if the pilot is the movie thing, then yeah, I'm pretty sure we're starting with that. Excuse me. Dharma dropped me some links to some of the stuff referring to N.D. Stevenson. I'm gonna have to unpack that later. Okay. Can't say I'm loving the tone of this, whoever this person is. And finally, okay. So X-Men RE, that trailer, how wrong could it go? All right. So this has to do with the implication, of the latest Stephen Strange, Doctor Strange trailer implies the possibility of us getting the Fox Films version of the X-Men, which is, Patrick Stewart, Hugh Jackman, and all those folks. And how badly could it go? It kind of depends because, all right, in my mind, this is the worst case scenario. They imply that those specific versions of these characters could cross over. Fans lose their mind. Marvel pulls the trigger on actually pulling in those actors and those versions, and everyone is underwhelmed because it's just the thing they already knew in a new setting. But Marvel was buoyed by the initial pop of excitement to do something that I think is narratively not a particularly interesting or fulfilling or thoughtful thing to do. I don't think bringing in... I've never thought. I have always, since the very first days of the Fox acquisition by Disney, I've always said I do not think it is a good idea to just port in the existing X-Men characters. I've never thought that was a good idea, and I would hate to see them do it. I think it is unlikely to yield good stories, is the simple answer to that. And I could be wrong. They could do it and it could be great. But for me, worst case scenario is they tease it, people love it so much that they do it, and then it's just nothing. It's just nostalgia bait. That, to me, is the worst case scenario. Do I think that's going to happen? I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. But I really don't want the Fox X-Men ported in to the MCU. I really, really, really don't. And I've talked before about why not, and I absolutely reject the argument that well, we have to, otherwise how do we explain why mutants haven't turned up? You make something up. I gave my own pitch for how to do that a while back. So, there are ways to do it. That's like the whole thing with the Timeless Child. Well, we had to give the Doctor unlimited regenerations. First of all, no, you didn't. Second of all, even if you had to do that, do it better. Whatever. Anyways, all right. I've got a couple of super chats to wrap up, and then we might be done after that. But new type JB Lee. For any long-running media like comics or TV, does decades of continuity alienate new fans? Isn't reboots and reset buttons can be just as confusing? It's tough. So the short answer is yes. Decades of continuity can be alienating depending on how much they matter. So part of the way comics plugged on, I would say for about their first 50 years, pretty unabated without too much issue, is that things always reset back to the status quo. So you didn't need to know all the continuity that came before. You just needed to know what's the basic standard for these characters. Then you could jump in at any point, jump off, jump back on again. You're fine. Starting in the 80s, you started to have much bigger continuity shakeups. And it became more of a case of you had to be paying attention. And yeah, that can be alienating and off-putting, especially to anyone new. And it depends on how far back the continuity goes and how much of it you need to know. To my mind, the best way of handling continuity is to basically avoid deep cuts that don't make sense within the story you're telling. So where continuity becomes a detriment is when you start referring back to things from years and years and years ago that your average new person coming in would never, ever be expected to know. And it's very clear that this is only here because it was there before. That's the worst way to do it. In my mind, if you handle it well, if you focus on the story that you're telling now that is within that continuity, then what you end up with is something with a sense of history, but you still can just enjoy that story. Part of the problem has been lately, especially with comics, is that they keep doing big event after big event after big event, and it feels like there's never a package bundled story. There's like little arcs, but nobody ever tells a completed story anymore. And that makes it tougher. Hang on, I think I might sneeze. Maybe not. It's because... Okay, there we go. John Vinyls, once again, thank you. Point of my She-Ra commentary was that I think N.D. Stevenson's upbringing impacted the show's story in certain ways. Oh, I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. You dig into any writer's things if you are the type to psychoanalyze a writer, or if a writer is the kind to share that kind of stuff and their own thoughts about what influenced their stuff, then yeah, you can find that in anybody's writing. It's all over my friggin' writing. And not like just the book, but like short stories I've written that have never been published, the play that I published. Like I have had my introspective moments of sort of tilting my head sideways and going, oh, I write about that general aspect of life a lot. So, like, that's true of any writer. How would you feel if they got Tennant to be the Master instead of the Doctor? Imagine the Master running around using the Doctor's face and selling his image and confidence. I have no interest. I really have zero interest. I saw, like, when I did my video saying that it's a bad idea to bring Tennant back as the Doctor again, I saw more than a few people float that idea, that even if they agreed with me, they'd like to see that. I wouldn't, for two reasons. One, we basically kind of got that with Jessica Jones already. I feel like that's more or less David Tennant as the Master, or something close to it. So I feel like I've already got it, first of all. Second of all, like, it would just be such a gimmick. So, and like the idea of like sullying his self-image and his self-confidence, I mean, I don't need the Doctor to have an existential crisis. I've actually rarely cared for the stories when the Doctor has an existential crisis. So like the stories that you could feasibly get out of that setup aren't ones I personally am interested in. So that's me. Welsh Wrestling Geeks. Thank you. Which Doctor would you most like to be friends with, and which would you least like to be friends with? I feel like I would get along with 11, with Matt Smith's Doctor, very well. I don't. I'd say I'd least like to be friends with 6, but I'm going to say specifically 6 during the TV time. It became more tolerable during Big Finish. Do we ever talk about X-Files on here or Silicon Valley, trying to determine what flavors of geekery we are serving? Meg, I know you have your geekery, but we do kind of go on different ends of it. But all geekery is welcome here. All right, I think this is gonna have to be the last super chat, and then I need to wrap it up. Liz will be here soon. New type JB Lee, thank you so much. How come the Fantastic Beasts had less luck in adaptations compared? I'm sorry, Fantastic Beasts. Yeah, Fantastic Four had less luck in adaptation compared to the X-Men, Spidey, etc. The concept of Fantastic Four is simple. How come it's hard to adapt? The thing is, the concept of the Fantastic Four is really rooted in the time and place it was created. And what I mean by that is the whole thing is rooted in not only the Kennedy era space travel, but in the concept of the nuclear family. That's kind of at the heart of it, especially when it comes with, I mean, Reed Richards is father's knows best kind of guy. And for a very long time, Sue was the good wife. And Johnny was the rambunctious kid. And Ben was either the fun uncle or the family dog, depending on who was writing it. But that whole dynamic is very embedded in a different point in time. And I think trying to find out how to update that has not only been a problem for the films, it's been a problem for the comics as well. The Fantastic Four have gone for long stretches where it's very clear the creators don't know how to make these characters work in a modern context. There have been a couple of times that it has worked. I think it was Mark Waid did a run in the early 2000s that was very good. But with only a couple of exceptions like him, everybody seems to have trouble making the Fantastic Four work as core characters these days, because they have to either try and make their outdated archetypes fit in a world that they're not designed for anymore, or try and turn them into subversions, which they weren't ever really built to be or do. And so that never really takes either whenever they try and do that. So they're surprisingly difficult to work with, not because they are complicated. As you said, they're quite simple, but because they are rooted in such a time past and in a way that doesn't update easily. So I think that's the core issue with them. But I need to wrap it up. I'm going to look into see if there's an audiobook, because the book I'm thinking about is 600 pages long. If you could favor me one with an audiobook where the audiobook is available in the US, because there actually was an X-Session audiobook, I just couldn't buy it here, that would be amazing. I'm not going to make that a requirement, but it would help. It would cut down on your wait time. Did I hear Big Finish are doing a series with Colin Baker as an alternate War Doctor? I did hear that. I'm sure it'll be great. Don't know when I'll get around to listening to it. I need to go. Oh, yes, Carolyn. Thank you. Twitch. I'm back on Twitch tomorrow, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Back with Final Fantasy VII Remastered, or Remake, or Recidivist, or Reconnoiter, or whatever it is. So back with that, and yeah, I'll have more stuff going up in the break room soon, and yeah, Friday is something that'll probably get the Batman fandom mad at me again. So that'll be fun. But did I say Friday? Saturday. Saturday's video. Friday's more Twitch. Anyways, Council Geeks on Twitch. I'll see you there in the morning if you can make it. But in any case, be well, be safe, be kind. Remember that you are beautiful, you are valid, and you are loved. You are the Council. I just run the meetings. And until next time, this council is adjourned. McCavity!